impact in the game.
On the final leg of the Goodison Park farewell tour, it's looking increasingly likely that Everton will survive the drop. The bad news, Arsenal have rolled into town, of course looking to consolidate their lead at the very top. Well, there's a little under a month left on this Goodison Park farewell tour, and Everton have a huge opportunity to open up a gap to the chasing pack in the relegation zone, with all three relegation position teams losing in the midweek games. Gives Everton a perfect opportunity, but unfortunately they're going to hit a bit of a a roadblock today because they're up against an informed Arsenal side. Pretty cruel how it all works out, huh? Well, Arsenal will be focusing, or at least having one eye, on the Champions League match against Atletico Madrid. But as they proved against Fulham, even their B and C squads could probably score big against them. But 90 minutes of football is always played on the pitch for a reason. The form book says that Arsenal will win probably comfortably, and of course they want to win this match. Open up a bit of a 9-point gap over City, at least momentarily, because City now have that game in hand following the midweek fixtures. Well, for David Moyes today, he does have some hope as Everton all-star Jordan Pickford is in goal, and Michael Keane makes a start too. Dressagane is in the middle of the park. It's up to Iliman Niede to try and get a goal or two up front by himself today. Load management is the case for Mikel Arteta today, but still no other start for Daniel Jennings despite that, which you can probably understand. Tomiyasu Timber, Calvary and Tyranny at the back four today. Odegaard starts once again. This time he's paired up with Jorginho and Fabio Vieira. The front three are Victor Gyökeres, I believe, with Trossard, and Raheem Sterling, I believe, getting another start today. Well, Sterling's starts have pretty much dried up over the last two games, but he is still being played. And Chelsea haven't seen any need to recall him for the moment. He was pretty adamant how he wanted to leave Chelsea right in that window, so I don't think there'll be any rush to call him back anyway, with that in mind. But what an opportunity this is for Everton on the Goodison Park farewell tour to grab a shock result. I mean, it wouldn't really affect much in terms of the top of the table. Arsenal would still be top no matter what, but it certainly would set us up for a bit of a nail-biting finish to this Premier League season. There's less than a month left now. I think we're in the final 8 games of the season now. And Arsenal ever closer to that league title. But Everton will be fired up for this one to give their fans another going away present from the stadium, a win over Arsenal. But it is going to be a Herculean task today with Arsenal's form this season. And Nelson has already picked out Gyökeres with a beautiful pass. And here he comes. He's already up there to meet up with it. Well, I would say the only people that would probably want Arsenal to win today are Arsenal fans. I'm sure all the neutrals are joining up with the Everton fans today, hoping they win and take a step closer to surviving this Premier League season and entering the new season in the Premier League with their new stadium. Certainly would be the best feel-good story of the year. As we say goodbye to this wonderful stadium that has certainly had its time, very much like Old Trafford, for example, one of the oldest stadiums in the Premier League. I think apart from Old Trafford, it might be one of the oldest in the Premier League era. And, well, one thing that won't make happy reading for Arsenal fans would be the fact that Oliver Skip, I believe, has scored for Spurs. But it'll be quickly forgotten about because Spurs are not in a title challenge this year. It's City that Arsenal will have their eyes on. Now with a game in hand over them, it's even more imperative that they keep winning. Arsenal, that is. In the 8 days, picked out Lindstrom. Oh no! He's got to score that. That could prove to be very, very crucial. Maybe come the end of this game. It was an open goal, really. Not to say that David Raya was just stepping aside, but it was certainly a bit of a golden opportunity, to be fair. Sterling. And tackled by Patterson. And the Everton fans are letting Sterling know how they feel about him today for some reason. Not entirely sure why. I think it could be because he was a little player at one point. It would certainly be valid. Gyökeres. Saved by Pickford. Raheem Sterling actually was a Liverpool player at one point, I believe. I'll have to go into my memory banks for that one, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. So that would be a reason for the small animosity showed by the Everton faithful. Calvori didn't get all behind the header, but he got all behind the clearance. Tackled by Fabio Vieira. Get a belter goal past David Raya. That one didn't fall into the back of the net. Odegaard's picked up Gyökeres. Arsenal doing some blinding passes so far. Here is Reece Nelson today. It's not Saka. He's being rested for Atletico Madrid. Go to Patterson. Starling. Lindstrom. Tackled by Fabio Vieira. Arsenal already going to get a foothold in this game. Only able to breathe right now. Certainly does want to keep the ball though. He's picked out Lindstrom. Can't afford to waste these chances. It's not the best of shots, to be fair. Raya's kicking certainly been getting better over the season. Pass. And Gyökeres! And it's 1-0. Never in doubt, Victor Gyökeres, and that's a shame, really. I'm very much a neutral today, and that's a shame. But Everton will take comfort in the fact that all the relegation teams lost, or the teams in the relegation places lost, we should say, because none of them were relegated yet. Although Wolves seem the most likely to go down first, being at the bottom and having a very below-par season, to be honest.
Goal for Arsenal, number 9, Victor Gyokeres.
And sadly, you could probably barely hit a pin drop right here, right now. This is a shame. He did it. And, well, we did say some glorious chances for Everton could come back to haunt them now, and it looks like doing that with the goal there from Gyokeres. Martin Odegaard. To Tierney. Now Sterling. Raheem Sterling. Good save by Pickford. Finds Odegaard. And Reece Nelson. Now Odegaard again. Arsenal still have the ball. Found Nelson. And it's 2-0. And Arsenal, no sentimental feelings towards Everton today. They have a job to do. They have to win this Premier League for themselves. And there'll be no favours from them to the Goodison Park faithful to give them a win to cheer in Arsenal's final appearance at Goodison Park, because they have their own duties to attend to today. No complacency in this Arsenal side. There's not been a hint of it all season long. They've kept pushing, and every single game they've played with the same intensity every single time, even when they lose. There's Paul Emery. Now this is an important one. Spurs, who had taken the lead against Southampton, have been pegged back now. Southampton are the nearest team, I believe, to the safe zone. So Everton now need a favour from London, Arsenal's neighbours Spurs, incidentally, to do them a favour here, because Arsenal certainly aren't doing them any favours with winning 2-0 down. And Spurs could certainly do with, or Everton could certainly do with a favour from Spurs. Dropping points against Southampton would certainly help. Southampton are the most likely to fight for survival. Ipswich not that far behind, but Wolves have lost a bit of ground in the early part of the season. They are kind of getting it back up now, so we could still have a bit of a final day decider, really. Could have a real bumper episode back then if we have things to still fight for on the final day. West Ham United 1, Bournemouth 0. I believe that's James Ward-Prowse that scored. He scored last time. West Ham came up on our score sheets again with Arsenal against Fulham. Wait. On Gyokeres. And it's too easy. Oh, he's missed it. Oh, I was about to say it's far too easy for Arsenal there. But Gyokeres pulls it wide just. And I'm noticing that Braithwaite is limping a little bit. I think we can run that off. Here's the 8-8. And a great save by David Raya. He's certainly not going to give them an easy time today. And that is an absolutely stunning save once again. There's almost an air of expectancy about it. You got a feel for Daniel Jennings. He's probably been waiting in the rings for a Premier League start. Since he really put in an admirable performance against Celtic in the Champions League. People would thought he would probably get another one, but Raya is just the number one here for a reason. And his 14 clean sheets this season tell the whole story, really. far as the goalkeeper is concerned anyway. Perez. Now, if he's to score from here, which he does, now, does that give David Raya the assist? It might, you know. And he's certainly happy about it, Gyökeres. He's doing the Ronaldo celebration. Now, that's very interesting. I'm pretty sure David Raya got the assist there, because he kicked it out. Gyökeres picked it up pretty much immediately and ran with it. So, David Raya may have an assist to his name. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to have to look that up. And we'll give you the result of that looking up at Atletico Madrid. We'll see if David Raya gets the assist there. I hope he does. Well, Arsenal's job is done. Already up by 3-0 in the first half. Of course, they need to keep the lead. So it's not all done yet, of course. Vori has in Ghana. Here's Gyökeres. Now picking out Nelson. Arsenal just all over Everton right now. Here is Odegaard. It's a good save from Pickford. Well, you've got to admire Jordan Pickford. He stuck it out. Everton, when he could have so easily gone to another club. Manchester United, I think we're in the search for him. I think Arsenal were even looking at him at one point. And maybe even Manchester City, but he stayed true to Everton. And good on him, because we don't really have a lot of players like that these days. Football is an ever-revolving wheel. People moving all the time. And obviously, Liverpool fans know what that's all about. Because, of course, Trent Alexander-Arnold has caused a storm and a bit of fury among the Liverpool fans with basically going to Real Madrid. I think he is Real Madrid bound at the end of his contract. I can understand the fans' anger to some degree, but Real Madrid come calling. You're not going to say no, are you? Ronaldo was sold to Real Madrid as well. And so was David Beckham. Football is a business. More of a business now than it ever was back in Beckham and Ronaldo's days. Arsenal have already got most of this game in the bag, up by 3-0, thoroughly dominant, and they'll just have to get through the second half, and it'll be another 3 points, another step towards that title. And they really are playing like champions lately, and the job has already been done. Welcome back to the Goodison Park farewell tour as it continues, and it sadly for Everton fans continues under a bit of a cloud today because Arsenal have already got most of their job done for this afternoon, leading here by 3-0 as they march towards their first league title in almost 20 years. And well, we talk about it like it's a certainty, and it's really because it is. Well, it isn't, but Arsenal are playing like it is. Let's say that. Made it. Tackled by Ben White. Oh, did David Raya get an assist? I, for one, hope he did. And he could have got another one here. Oh, now, very crucial goal at Villa Park here. Nottingham Forest have just scored what could be a vital goal in the relegation battle. And, well, that could be a very, very crucial goal. We'll have to see. Everton, I think, were ahead of Nottingham Forest by a point or so in the relegation scrap. So, Everton really need a favour from Tottenham Hotspur now. Because if Southampton gets something, then this next... Oh, wow. The next fixture, would you believe it, for Everton is Nottingham Forest. So, wow, that is really ironic how that's just happened. That is very, very creepy and spooky, to be fair. But that's the way the league format drew it up. At the start, we didn't really, it was all random. So, it's just a very strange coincidence, to be fair. Here is Patino, and look how much space he had. But yeah, what a strange coincidence. Nottingham Forest just scoring a vital goal, putting them ahead of Villa in the relegation battle, and next for them is Everton. So to make that game a real 6-pointer right now, because Everton sadly do not look like getting anything here, basically because of Arsenal's power and prowess this season. Odegaard with the resulting corner here. Here is Raheem Sterling, and Malenko got in front of there. Jordan Pickford was diving for it. Ben White came up with it, but he's offside. There's Michael Keane. Solly. Niede. Away. To Yuri and Timber. Passes back to its keeper. David Raya is on the hunt for another assist if he did get that first one. Oh, now Wolves have scored against Ipswich Town. It's 2-1 in a battle between 19th and 20th in this Premier League table. Interestingly enough, Wolves might not be just confirmed to go down yet if they win that one. A few crucial games going on here today. And the scoring is right up with the scores, so that's good to know. Missed wide by Niede. Well, that would certainly help Everton out. But they still need Spurs to beat Southampton, because Ipswich are a little bit further behind Southampton. I think by about 2 or 3 points, I think it was. But if Spurs win there, then Everton might be more or less safe. In the final 8 games of the season, I think there's 7 counting this one. And up next for Arsenal, a big one. The Champions League against Atletico Madrid, a team they have already beaten this season. So they will take confidence from that. Put it in low towards, I'm not sure who that was. It might have been Gyökeres, but didn't work out. Now Everton breaking forward here with McNeil. Ben White out for a corner rather. It is coming off for, I'm not sure who that was coming on. It's Beto. Taken by Odegaard. McNeil tries to put it in towards Ingerbottom and Braithwaite. And Everton certainly trying. It's not falling their way so far today. Braithwaite, probably not much more he could have done, to be honest. And substitution for Arsenal as load management comes into effect. Martin Odegaard is making way for Jack Henry Francis. Of course, with Gyökeres and Lenny Yoro, they are cup tied elsewhere, so they will not be able to be eligible against Real Madrid, and they weren't eligible against Brentford either. The referee will blow for the free kick. And White decides to take it quick. There's Coutinho. Turning to Gyökeres. Gyökeres shoots. Well, Despite not only playing in league games, Gyökeres and Yoro have really made their own marks. Taken by Gyökeres there. Keane gets ahead of Jack and Francis. Beto. Now, Aston Villa have turned it around against Nottingham Forest now. So that's a favour that Everton fans will greatly take. Francis running into the box. Here's Sterling. Here's Gyökeres. This has gone down, but he got the ball first. Here's Saleh. And Beto! Well, we should have scored. I think Raya maybe had that covered. Here's Patino. Here's Sterling. Patterson. With the Tierney. Gyökeres is offside. That's a good take by Ryan. And, looks to be heading for another clean sheet. This finds Nelson. And Manchester City have scored a second against Manchester United to keep the pressure on. But Arsenal are out of sight already here. That's the fourth goal, and I think that's... I'm not sure who that was. Was this Reece Nelson? Yep, certainly was. Well, Erling Haaland. That's another goal back towards Alexander Isak, who's sitting on 29 for the season right now. Time is running out for Alexander Isak to get that record. With only about 7 or so games left. Maybe he won't make it, but I think Arsenal will take the league title all day long. And that keeps the pressure, so now it'll be still 6 points between City and Arsenal, with City still with a game in hand over them, I believe. So that's from taking part in the Carabao Cup final. Sterling was fouled. What's the verdict going to be here? It's going to be a yellow card for Nathan Patterson. And he's probably lucky, to be fair. It was a pretty rash challenge. That's certainly making David Moyes aware of that. Martinez do the way to Ghana here. White. Regina. Better. Instruct. West Ham 3, Bournemouth 2. I don't think it really has any impact on anyone around these two today. Bournemouth and Brentford obviously in that fight for the Europa League spots in the top 8. We've seen Bournemouth and Brentford in next year's Europa League. That's incredible when you think about it. I believe if Arsenal win the FA Cup, that puts them in the Champions League, but they're already pretty much qualified for the Champions League through finishing top 4 in the league anyway. And Kieran Tierney is making a way for Jacob Kiwior. Take by Kiwior there. Here's Garner. Here's Sali. Here's Garner again. Sali. By Kiwior. I think it's an Arsenal throw. Well, 3 points are in the bag for Arsenal today, with Manchester City winning in the Manchester derby. McNeil. Oh my word, what a goal. What a strike by McNeil. Oh, David Raya just moments away from another clean sheet, but as gutted as we are for that, McNeil here with an absolute rocket. What a goal. Take a bow, son. That is an absolutely beautiful strike. And even David Raya, I think, got up and smiled at that, because that was a beautiful hit. And, well, he's been taken away for clean sheet in the most cool of circumstances, minutes before the end. But Arsenal will only really care about the 3 points, to be fair. And I don't think even David Raya can complain about that one. That was a stunning strike by McNeil, to be fair. And that's given the Goodison crowd here today something to cheer about, because they've not really had a lot. Because Arsenal have been on their tip-top form. Oh, there's Nelson there. Because the commentators, maybe. Most likely not. Strike. Look at that. And to be fair, Yuri and Timber is rather unlucky not to get to that. I think it went straight through him, incidentally, in a way. So that was really unfortunate. David Raya, try as he might, couldn't get there either. So it's just a great strike by McNeil, to be fair. That's the way you beat David Raya this season. Tried and tested. And succeeded for the most part. Well, only for a minor part, because David Raya has like 14 clean sheets to his name. So not everyone has been able to kind of do that. Here's McNeil again. Well, to make things interesting, if Everton score here, Beto is put it over. Well, I think Beto probably did a lot more than he probably should have done there. He put it under his control first. Well, McNeil has definitely added another belter to the scrapbook of Goodison Park on this farewell tour, but unfortunately it amounts to nothing, because Arsenal were out of sight by the end of the first half and ended the game with a 4-goal lead. And again, without Alexander Isak, they were rather comfortable, to be fair. And well, the rest is history. And Arsenal, well, they dominated. And even McNeil's heroic effort Unfortunately, like we said, it amounts to naught. Everton 1, Arsenal 4. So let's take a look at all the scores and what that means for the Premier League table. No real changes at the top, with Arsenal, City and Newcastle all winning today, with Newcastle winning 2-1 against Leicester City. 0-0 between Crystal Palace and Brighton, but all the important scores at the bottom. Ipswich and Wolves ended 2-2. Brentford lost to Chelsea by 2-0. That's good for Chelsea's top 4 hopes. That puts them in 4th now. Forest drawing against Aston Villa. Fulham drawing against Liverpool, and West Ham beating Bournemouth in the end, amazingly. City obviously beating Manchester United, as we saw. Spurs did beat Southampton in the end, so no real changes at the top then. Only Chelsea getting into 4th place. Where did they come from? They were near the bottom at the start. But Newcastle, Manchester City and Arsenal are pretty much guaranteed the top 3. It just depends on what order they'll finish in. Arsenal's goals for is 114, by the way. Brentford still 8th, West Ham still 9th, Brighton 10th, followed by Aston Villa. But we need to get to the bottom because that's where the scores are most important. Manchester United still could finish 11th, actually, and not out of a chance of a top 10 either, actually, to be fair, despite their season. Fulham 13th, Crystal Palace 14th, Everton now 15th, 1 point clear of Leicester City. Nottingham Forest draw leaves them in 17th. Southampton now in trouble with 22 points. Ipswich 19 and Wolves 14. And, well, if Wolves aren't careful, they could probably go down in a couple of weeks, actually. But all the relegation teams losing, despite Everton's loss, that does give them some vital breathing room now.